Good morning, friend. I just got back in from the garden. We just did a full garden tour. And last night I made Twinkies and Hostess. And Josh is going to the gym this morning with a friend, and he's gonna bring over some of those leftover Twinkies and Hostess to his friend. It is early. The sun is barely up. And I wanna go ahead and get going on dinner tonight. I am going to be working in the garden with you all for quite a bit sometime this afternoon, and I know that I don't want to think about dinner. So what I did for myself to make my life easier is yesterday I pulled out a freezer meal. It was, I don't remember, I think the last time we did a big freezer meal cooking day, we made this, and it is a balsamic maple, I believe. I'll link the recipe down below. I have to find it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I, of course, forgot to write on the bag what it is, but I know that it is a balsamic, pretty sure maple chuck roast that I'm gonna cook in the slow cooker all day, and we're gonna get it shred apart tender. We're gonna make garlic Parmesan mashed potatoes. Oh my goodness, that smells incredible. To put this beef on top of, we're gonna harvest a bunch of green beans today. We, over the weekend, were able to enjoy the leftovers from the dinner party I had, but now those are all gone. So I need to go ahead and get something started. And we haven't done a big freezer cooking day in quite some time because we have been having fun cooking all sorts of new recipes together, but I'm getting very low on them. I have a bunch of like chicken that's marinated in the freezer, but I don't have any more like full meals. So I need to get some like actual meals done, but we're not gonna do that today. We're gonna though enjoy the benefits of our previous self's efforts by getting this started. I'm gonna put this on high. I think it's completely thawed. I did thaw it. So I think it's gonna probably take 8 to 10 hours. It's a chuck roast, so it needs a long time low and slow. So this is done. I am gonna sit down and have a cup of coffee. I have started my coffee today, but I have not finished a full cup of coffee yet this morning. This is the coffee I started this morning. I think I'm gonna sit outside for a few minutes, collect my thoughts, figure out all the things we're gonna do today. Normally, before we get going together, I have a plan. Today, I don't really have a plan. It's beautiful fall day. It's officially fall. I'm here for it. I need to get a bunch of work done. I've already started cleaning up for the winter, cleaning up the annuals, and I wanna continue on that. And I know we need to harvest. So let me collect my thoughts and I'll see you back when I have a plan. Dinner is already starting to smell incredible. So I know I have out in the garden a basket where I have already started to collect some goodies. It is many hours since last time we saw each other. I did finish my first cup of coffee. I am now on my second. I'm gonna grab some gloves, some snippers. What else do I need? I feel like we haven't been in here together in a long time. I think this is all that I need. We're gonna go out and we're gonna do some garden maintenance, and we have some harvesting to do. And I know that I have picked a couple things, left them out in the garden, and so I need to go out there and actually pick them up. Should I plant more? One thing that I have not grown that much of this year is just straight up lettuce. I think most of my lettuce seed that I had planted throughout this year, because I've planted a lot of lettuce seed, but not very much has grown. It's all old. I don't think I bought any lettuce seed this year, and I think my lettuce seed, to be quite frank with you, is out in the garden. Here is one pack. This is one I think I got for free. Yeah, it says thank you on it. I got for free in another order that I ordered. I'm gonna grab 2 sets of gloves, grab my coffee. Let's head out in the garden, do garden maintenance and some planting apparently. I said earlier I wasn't gonna plant any fall crops. Well, I guess I am gonna plant a few fall crops. It is beautiful. The high today is supposed to be like 62. It is stunning out here. It smells good. It smells like fall. I'm gonna grab my wheelbarrow because we're gonna be filling it up with yard debris. I think I can put my coffee here without it spilling totally. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do today is go ahead and clean up this bed. I have 2 beds that I'm gonna basically take down, or not take down. I'm going to kind of bring back to the ground, I guess. And I just have some snippities here. I want to clean up this bed. So my goal is to put this garden completely to bed for winter at some point. It is still being very productive and abundant, so we're not at that point yet, but these snapdragons are done for the year. And so I don't want to put the whole garden cleanup for one weekend or something like that. I want to kind of do this in stages. My parents have helped me. We harvested the rattlesnake pole beans. We cleaned that up, same with some other beds. And so we're just gonna go ahead and tackle a few beds as they're done for the season, so we don't have this massive cleanup project. I do want to put all these beds to bed because I did that last year and it made springtime a whole lot more enjoyable just to kind of dive in and start planting. So that's what we are going to do, but we're going to just chunk off different small little chunks at a time so it's not one big overwhelming mess. I have 20 raised beds here, and some of them are still producing like crazy. Some of them we haven't harvested, and some of them, like this one, are basically almost done for the season. So my goal here is to just snip these plants off at the root and compost. I'm actually going to just throw these snapdragon plants in the woods because they have disease on them. So I don't really want to put them in a compost that I'm going to then put in my garden. So I don't know what disease this is on them. I think it's a fungal disease. I should really look it up. I don't think I'm going to plant my snapdragons so close together next year. I think that was part of my problem.
Now, I originally was going to just cut the plants back, leave the roots in, let it compost in place to kind of build the organic matter in my soil. When I've done that in the past, I definitely can tell a difference between the soil health and the life in the soil than when I just like pull the whole roots up and I don't leave those roots behind to break down over winter and feed the worms and all the life that's in the soil. But something told me when I was about a third of the way, maybe a quarter of the way through, just pull the whole plants up. And I'm glad I did, because now at this point, I know more about the disease that was infecting my snapdragons. The disease that I had on my snapdragons was indeed a fungal disease, which is what I have been assuming it has been. And it's called Antirrhinamus, I'm not saying that right, Antirrhinamus rust. And it's a fungal disease that spreads just from spores that are carried in the wind, but it really catches hold when you have a colder year. And we did have a colder year. I think I've mentioned that before, that we just had a milder growing season. And one of the reasons I wasn't ready for fall is because I didn't feel like I got sick of the heat and wanted the cooler temps. And so this fungal disease, this rust, really thrives in temperatures between 15 and 25 degrees Celsius when it's wet. And that in Fahrenheit is, I did the conversion, 59 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And we had those conditions. Plus, I planted the plants a little too close together. And when I first saw the disease, I should have just started ripping plants up that were infected and planting them close together, and having a wet and cooler spring and summer was just kind of the perfect combination for this disease.
There's a ton of tomatoes growing out of here. 3 tomato plants. Look at this tomato. It's growing in. Oh my goodness, there's some big ones in here. Let's see. Wow. That's a beautiful tomato. Let me show you. There's 2 of them, which I would have missed if I didn't pull these out. Okay. So there's a green one. Look at these, beautiful.
When I was reading about this disease, they said that you can save the seed. The actual seed doesn't get infected, like the genetics of it, but you can get cross-contamination, so it's best not to save the seed from contaminated plants. And there are varieties out there that are rust resistant. They're not rust free, but rust resistant. So I'm going to look into that for the snapdragons I want to grow next year. I have grown snapdragons. This is the 4th year in a row, and I've never had this problem. So I think it was just kind of a perfect storm with me planting things too close together and it being a nice wet and cooler season. So here's what it's looking like after the snapdragons are removed. I think I'm going to go ahead and harvest my mini white pumpkins as well. I think this plant is done. I have one little mini white pumpkin here. Needs to be washed, but it's a cute little pumpkin. Compost this. And then we have one more over here. All right, we got this one bed done. I want to go ahead and harvest all the tomatoes that are blushing on here because there's quite a few, and then they can ripen inside in the safety of being inside. Some of them are fully ripe, and then some of them are blushing, but now I can actually see everything a lot better. So here's what it's looking like after. And I found a celery plant. Celery will grow really well in the cold, so I'm just gonna let that be. I'm eventually gonna cover all of these beds with landscape fabric, but I'm gonna wait till I remove the tomato plants. I want the beds completely covered for winter so they're protected from weeds and weed seeds. So that's a lot of tomatoes. Most of those are gonna go to my sister. So now that we've got that one bed done, we're gonna come over here and do that same thing to this bed. And this one looks a lot worse. These were the plants that got the fungus or the disease first. I really need to look up what that disease is. And so you can see they are dead. To see things die has the potential to be sad, but to me, this is exciting because we were able to really enjoy this harvest of these snapdragons, and we can clean it up, have the garden beds look nice and tidy, and then we can put the garden to bed. We can settle into fall and winter, the holiday season, and I just like it because it just tells me that the seasons are changing and we put in the work. We still have a lot more work ahead of us, but it's time to rest here soon. Yeah, these are coming up a lot easier because they definitely, the roots aren't as stuck into the ground as they were on the other side, or the other bed. Even though this bed met its demise and I got serious disease, I still consider this an absolute success. It was so incredibly stunning and probably the most beautiful garden bed I have ever grown. And so I am considering this a success, even though I did a few things wrong that meant that these plants might have been doomed. Now, I have had snapdragons stay blooming and looking lush until December, January. We usually get our really, really cold temps that kill off the snapdragons in February. And so this could have had the potential to be even more beautiful for longer, but I'm still considering it success. I don't know if I'm going to do this next year because, it was subject to disease because of how close and the weather they were together. But we'll just have to see what I end up doing next year. Now, the research I was doing about this anti-minimum rust is your soil and your bed and your garden is not doomed for future generations of growing snapdragons, but you don't want to put these contaminated plants in your compost. It is best to just go ahead and totally get rid of them. And unless you're, a professional composter, it is best to just not end up putting potentially contaminated compost into your garden beds. Now, I didn't see anything about planting things in the same spot. I am going to have snapdragons in my garden next year, but I probably will not put snapdragons in the 2 beds that I had them in this year, just because the contamination was pretty heavy. Just to try to prevent that, I won't put them in these beds. And then also I'm going to scrub my wheelbarrow, and I'm going to scrub all the tools that I use to remove these, and obviously wash my apron and things like that, because that can harbor the fungal spores.
So here is what it's looking like after. So much better. Got to bring this to the compost. This is a basket I started harvesting yummy things this morning with. I found those tomatoes, put those in there. I am going to clean up the edge of the bed, so I just put all this soil back into the bed. There we go. So much better. I'm going to grab these starting to blush tomatoes here. That tomato I'll just let compost there. All right, we got those 2 beds cleaned up really well. Just found a tomatillo. And now we can do more harvesting. So obviously we still have all the tomatoes on there, but I'm gonna keep those on there till closer to our first frost. Let them continue to ripen and bring them in as they ripen. So the bed though itself, I have a couple Snapdragon pieces I will take out here. And I'm not going to cover the bed until I take the tomatoes out. And I will eventually remove all the tomato plants and landscape fabric this bed and every single bed, which is going to be a big project. But I will do that, I don't know. So now what we're going to do is harvest this bed. You know what I see right here too? This is a new pepper that I haven't harvested yet. What is this? Sweet. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But I have all these bell peppers in here, and some of them have some damage on them. So I want to get them before they go bad. These are the variety of bell pepper called Yellow Monster. And I grew these because Jessica from 3 Rivers said they're her favorite pepper, and they produce the most. This is not the first time I'm harvesting, and I can already tell these are definitely the most prolific pepper I have ever grown. Look how big these are. Beautiful. Look at that. Wow. Now I know there's tomatillos in here that need to be harvested as well. I am blown away by how productive this variety of pepper is. I think I'm going to grow this pepper again next year because it's definitely produced more peppers than any other bell pepper variety I've ever grown. And I think I want to put my peppers down on this bottom row next year to get more sun and see if I can get them to grow even bigger, because these peppers here in this bed produced very well as well, and they get a little bit more sun than the ones up there. So here we have poblano peppers. This is my second flush of them. So delicious. I think I'm gonna let a couple of them grow a little bit bigger. Here is my second flush of Anaheims. I'm gonna let these grow for just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to roast them again and do a second batch of roasted chilies. I pulled up all the cilantro and I just laid it here to compost in place as a little bit of ground cover. But I want to grab these Aha Crystal peppers. These are so yummy. That one might need to be given to the chickens. I want to make a hot sauce with these. I'm going to wait till I have all of them ripe, and then I will make hot sauce with them at one time. These are a delicious pepper, but extremely hot, and I want them to be red before I harvest them. Look how beautiful that is. Stunning. I love peppers. One thing I did not realize though is that these Anaheims are spicy. I think you can get different heat levels of Anaheims, and I just bought Anaheim peppers seed and I didn't check to see if they were hot, medium, or mild. The only reason I think you can get different ones is because when you buy the little chilies in a can at the store, you can buy mild, medium, or hot. I think the ones that I got are probably medium. They're not crazy hot, but they're pretty warm. So I have to be careful when I use them that I don't make things too spicy. For dinner tonight, I want to make green beans. And this is my second flush of green beans that I planted.
These green beans that I'm harvesting right here, I have mentioned this before, but the variety is called Blue Lake Bush Beans, and they are not my favorite. And even after growing them on this day, this is the first time I'm harvesting off these plants. I can definitely say they have a little bit more stringiness to them, and they're a little bit more finicky when you harvest them. The reason I grew them is because I had the seed and I didn't want the seed to go bad. So I wanted just to use up the seed. They are good and we enjoy them. But my favorite green beans are these ones. And these are jade green beans. And I have harvested an incredible amount of green beans from this little tiny patch right here. They have just been producing, and it doesn't seem like there's any end in sight. So in the future, when I purchase green bean seeds for me and my garden and my area, I've really been enjoying the variety jade green beans. But I am grateful for any green beans that are going to come out of my garden. So now that we've done some garden cleanup and some garden harvest, I am going to go ahead and get some of these beautiful goodies ready to go into the freezer for future projects or just for future cooking projects. So here is the peppers. I'm going to dice these and we are going to vacuum seal them.
So the peppers are all diced up. Now I have some vacuum seal bags here, and I went and grabbed some potatoes for tonight's dinner. Since I'm kind of making a mess in the kitchen, I figured I'm gonna finish getting tonight's dinner done so that once dinner time comes, I don't have to make a mess of the kitchen. I can get all the mess done now and then clean it up, and then I can just show you how I'm gonna pull dinner together. It smells incredible in here. So in each one of these freezer vacuum seal bags, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 cups of diced peppers. And that should be a good amount for a dinner. If I'm gonna make chili or taco soup or whatever it might be, I can just open this package up and have diced peppers. I don't do anything when it comes to peppers to freeze them. I don't blanch them, I don't do anything. I just dice them, put them in a vacuum seal bag and freeze them, and it is perfect. I don't have any peppers left from last year, so I'm really excited to get these into the freezer, and it looks like I'm gonna get 6 bags. So this is basically 6 meals worth of peppers. Looks like that one I'm gonna go ahead and compost. Some of the peppers had little bad spots, so I cut the parts off that were bad. And I'm gonna give all the seeds to the chickens. So I got all 6 of these bags vacuum sealed. I'm just gonna throw these in the freezer just like this. And then these hot peppers, are washed and the tops are cut off. When the rest of them come in, I will do something with them. The tomatillos are also washed in a freezer Ziploc bag. I'm not gonna vacuum seal either of these because in the next, I don't know, month or two, I will do something with them. So I'm just gonna throw all of these in the freezer and then we're gonna come back and deal with these green beans. These green beans are washed and have the stems taken off. We're gonna have quite a few green beans for dinner tonight. So I just have this pot out. I'm gonna get these green beans that I'm gonna cook up for dinner tonight in this pot, and the rest I will just pop in the refrigerator. I'm probably gonna cook up half of these. I really like eating green beans for breakfast, so whatever we don't eat for tonight's dinner, it'll just be meal prep and they won't go to waste. So that was probably 2 big servings worth of green beans, or times I cook up. So I'm gonna put the rest of these in a Ziploc bag and just throw them in the fridge. I like to wash these when I bring them in so that when I go to cook with them, I don't have to wash them. And I also like to remove the end if I didn't do that when I was harvesting, just so that when I go to cook with them, it's one less thing I have to do later. So over here is where we have all these partially ripe tomatoes that we harvested. I am going to drive these to my sister's house this afternoon, along with a couple zucchinis. So I'm gonna get these just bagged up in a brown paper bag, and that way they can continue to ripen. That one is gonna need to be washed and go directly into the freezer because it's got a crack in it. But these ones can sit on the counter and finish ripening inside. I have lots of cherry tomatoes out there, so if we want fresh tomatoes, we can just eat the cherry tomatoes that are perfectly ripe coming off the vines. I'll pop this outside, this is empty. I don't want to put too many tomatoes in each bag because I don't want the weight of them to bruise the tomatoes, so I've got another bag here. These have quite a bit of ripening to do. Put the big tomatoes, that one needs to go to the chickens. These are ready to go to her. This can go outside. I like to keep those baskets right outside because it's just easy when I need to bring them out to harvest. Need to clean my countertops here. So now let's go ahead and finish off dinner. I got up very, very early this morning and it is only 1:28. And I want all of my dinner components to be completely done because I do need to get a bunch of work done this afternoon, but I can sit with my feet up and I can do that. And I'm not gonna wanna get in the kitchen, I don't think, to prep any dinner components. I can tell that I'm going to be tired and all I'm gonna wanna have to do is turn on the stove and let the stove do the work for me. I went downstairs and I grabbed some potatoes. Now some of these potatoes have turned a little green, or they were green when I harvested them. So what I wanna do is make sure I peel any of the green bits away. And I'm gonna show you how you can prep potatoes so that you can let them sit for a while you do other things and the potatoes aren't gonna turn brown. So I've already washed these once. We washed them when we harvested them, but they need to be washed again. But I generally like to peel my potatoes and then wash them because they're homegrown potatoes. Usually if I peel them after I wash them one time, I have to wash them again anyway. So I generally like to just wash them after I peel them. There's a little bad spot on this one, so I'm just gonna cut that away until we have nice, beautiful white potato. And these are gonna be Parmesan garlic mashed potatoes. Josh made me these mashed potatoes for the first time when we were first married. For Valentine's Day, he made me steak, green beans, and mashed potatoes, and this was the recipe he made, and they were so good. It's a Gordon Ramsay recipe, and I'll show you how I'm going to. It does take quite a few dishes. I already have 2 out, and I realize I need to get 1 more, so it's not gonna be like this is not a one-pot wonder dinner tonight, that's for sure, but it's gonna be delicious. I'll have it all prepped, and then Josh will help me with the dishes tonight. So I'm not gonna be the one having to do the dishes after dinner. And this is gonna be more than enough for my family, so it'll be meal prep. So tomorrow night, I'm probably not even gonna cook dinner. which will be nice. This is a different variety of potato. These 3 potatoes were russets, and this one, I don't know what it is, but I can tell it's a different type of potato on the inside. I'm just peeling these potato skins into this bowl, and then I'll compost those. My chickens don't eat potato skins. I think when Josh made me these potatoes, it was the first time he ever cooked for me. No. He cooked for me when we were dating. So maybe it was the second time he cooked for me. It's not his favorite thing to do, cooking. He's a very good baker though, and he's been baking more lately, which has been kind of fun. I get to sit at the end of the counter and watch him bake. I actually usually have to run around the kitchen and kind of tell him where things are, but he's starting to figure out where things are in the kitchen. And so it's fun. Usually when he decides to bake something, it's after dinner and we've been watching TV or something, and he's like, I want cookies. And I hadn't made any cookies or any dessert. And then he'll get up and make cookies. It's fun. Okay, so this is the last potato. I'm gonna go wash my cutting board and my potatoes because my cutting board does have dirt on it. And my knife. I don't need this anymore, but I will need my knife. Okay, how I'm gonna prep these potatoes to turn them into mashed potatoes is I'm just gonna cut them down a little bit. Try to get them kind of even so they cook evenly. Now I'm gonna put these potatoes in my pot that I'm gonna cook them in tonight, and I'm gonna cover them with water so they don't turn brown. If I didn't cover them in water, they would most certainly turn brown or gray, kind of. So all you need to do is put a lid on. I'm gonna set these on the counter, and then at dinner time, I will turn them on. So I'm just gonna put some garlic in this back pot. I do need to put some cream in here, but I'm gonna put that cream in right before I heat it up. And what Gordon Ramsay says to do is to heat your cream and your garlic, kind of gently cook the garlic so it's not completely raw going into your potatoes. Then we're gonna put hot cream into our mashed potatoes once I boil these and then mash them up. I'm gonna need a little bit of garlic for my green beans. So I have a little dish here. I'm gonna put some garlic in, and that will be for the green beans. I'm also gonna put this in a Ziploc bag. I think I chopped this garlic for, I don't remember what I chopped it for. I chopped it for something, and I chopped way more than I needed. And now I have garlic prepped. So I'm just gonna get this into a freezer bag, freeze it, and then when I need it, I can just pull it out and I don't have to make garlic every time. I'm gonna put that little bit of garlic in there. Our green beans are here, our potatoes, our cream, and our beef are all prepped and ready to go for me so that when it's dinner time tonight, I can just shred this beef. I wanna see if it's tender. Oh yeah, it's tender. So I'm gonna turn this on low. I think I'm actually gonna put it on keep warm because it's gonna be in here for quite some time. And now dinner is basically prepped. So what I'm gonna do, a little bit later today, I'm gonna shred this beef. I will turn on my stove, boil my potatoes, drain them, heat up the cream and garlic, and add those together. I will show you all of how this turns out. I will turn this on after I put probably about a half a cup of water in there. So I will steam them on the stove 15 minutes or so. Once tender, I take this off, I let all the water evaporate, and then I put a little bit of butter, turn the heat on really high, and get it nice and charred. So even though this is not a one-pot wonder, it's still gonna be delicious, and I've already done all the hard part now, so now it's just a matter of having this come together. I'm gonna go give a big bowl of pepper scraps to the chickens. I did give them 1 tomato and a big zucchini. We can actually bring this out to the chickens together. They're running out of their coop because they know I bring goodies. Come on, girls. See, here you can see that's a sunflower head. That's a sunflower head that they have eaten all of the seeds out of. And then anytime I give them a zucchini, it helps if you cut them in half. They really like the inside better, and so they're more likely to eat it, especially tomatoes too, if you cut it in half. And then they'll eat all these pepper seeds. There you go, girls. There, see? Good job. They like the seeds on the inside. I think that's why it's best if you cut it open for them. So what a great day. A lot was accomplished. It's been a very busy day. I think I got up at like 5 this morning. I am tired. I'm ready to put my feet up. And so thank you for being here as we got all of these things done. I do need to go finish cleaning up the kitchen. That's only gonna take me a few minutes, but like I need to put the potato peels. I don't feed the potato peels to my chickens, so I just need to bring those to the compost and wash this bowl and wash my cutting board. And then I'm going to put my feet up and get to work. But the nice thing is I can at least sit outside on this beautiful day, a beautiful fall day, and get some work done. So thank you for being here as we got all this stuff done. I'm so excited about the peppers. I definitely will grow that variety again. That was Yellow Monster. And I think I have now put up about 10 or 12 bags of diced peppers, which should be plenty for me. I still will buy fresh peppers in the winter, but that's if I need them to be fresh. The one thing about the frozen peppers is you really have to use them in a cooked application. So if you want fresh peppers, then it's best if you just buy peppers. But any peppers I can put up from my garden, I am super grateful to do that. So thank you for being here. If you want to watch more of my videos, I'll pop some here. You can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.